Good morning, welcome back to the shop. My name's Jamie, and I like ground beef and cookies. And usually this machine does both of those things for me, but right now it's only doing one. The mixer's working, but the attachment drive for this KitchenAid mixer is broken. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is, I've disassembled it, but this is part of the meat grinder, and it locks into the attachment drive. And when you turn it on, you put any kind of pressure on it, the gears inside here, they're not working, right? So the gears are definitely busted up. But the mixing gear does work. So I know that there's no issue on that piece. So good news is cookies are still in my future, but I did buy a smoker recently, and so there's been some ground beef that we've been working on with some of the trimmings from the briskets that I've been cutting up. So we got to get this meat grinder working, and if you want to jump in and watch, we'll take you through that process to get this fixed up. Here we go. All right, so there's a couple of different ways this thing will come apart. Not necessarily order specific. But first thing we'll start with is this trim ring. This is actually where the grease that's inside the head here, as it heats up and leaks through, this actually has a catch basin in the bottom. And so this is just pressed on. So if we take a flathead screwdriver and just kind of work it on each side, we can get that off, and you can see some of that food grade grease that's in the bottom of that. We'll clean that up. All right, let's come over here towards the back. Got this screw here above the electrical connections. Just pick up on that, rotate it back, because there's some little hooks where this will hook in. Set that guy off to the side. All right, so in here, at the end of the video, I'll show you, you can adjust the speed based on how you move these bolts in and out, and how you adjust this here. You can adjust the stir speed all the way up to the mixing, and you know, from 1 to 10 stir all the way up to whipping. All right, this band, this ornamental band here, is held on in the back. Couple of Phillips heads. Just take that off. Easy enough. You can disconnect these wires. Let's see. And there's a ground wire. Just put that screw right back in. We've got a pin here on the main shaft that we need to tap out. Right after that pin's removed, there's a few screws here we have to get out. There's 5 that go around the circumference here, and there's also 1, 2, 3, 4. And KitchenAid looks like they've got a little smarter, make this harder for you to get in on. So this is a square head screwdriver, and it looks like it's size 1. So you'll need a size 1 screwdriver to get these screws out. Again, it's got that square head on it. So it looks like this part will just, now that we've disconnected this, This will come down in one mechanism. You can see the old grease in there. Sometimes these will leak, the grease. If that happens, you can just run it on high for a couple of minutes to get the grease kind of warmed up and moved around, and that'll won't leak as much. Kind of re-emulsifies, if that's the right word. So this gear looks okay, and this gear looks okay. Again, I wasn't having problems with the mixer. It was this accessory piece up here on the top. All right, so now let's take these out. All right, and with that, now we should be able to get the top section off. Yeah, I can kind of pry it up. And there we go. So as you can see, they put a lot of grease in here, and much of it doesn't really do anything. It's all just kind of gooped up on the side, but that's okay. It's a sealed unit. Have that grease flying around in there. Works out just fine. For the main shaft, it has a pin you can just pull out. Let that come all the way through. It's got a little bit of marking on it, but no scoring at all. It's not scratched. It feels like it's in good shape. The mechanism here in the back is held on with some screws in kind of like 3. There's 1. 2 and 3. And this little tower comes off. So this gear is plastic. It is made to break in case the machine gets jammed. This one actually looks like it's in good condition. And I'm not getting much play when I wiggle it kind of left and right, so that looks good. We'll clean that guy up. And then we have the main gear that's just setting here, and there is a washer underneath it. I want to make sure we don't lose sight of that. All right, so I'll clean this up and come right back. So inside the main head, there's not much we're going to do here except for clean it out. This is the accessory drive gear. Just kind of slides right out. And I'll clean these up and show you how they look, but it's kind of hard to see right now, but you can definitely see this is where I was getting the skipping. The main drive gear here is what looks like it took the most damage, because the accessory gear actually looks okay, but we'll compare them to the new ones after I clean these up. There is a gasket on here. The kit that I have has a new one, but we'll just carefully take this off anyway in case this appears like it might be a better quality. Who knows? It could be rubber. I don't know what the new one's made of, but we'll take good care of the gasket. So on this orbital drive gear, to get this shaft off, it's just a snap ring on this side. That gear comes right off. It's got a little shaft here, pin for a keyway, and then a washer, and then this will come right out. And then you can clean that. As far as this, the worm gear that goes onto the motor, there's a little pin, and we should be able to, you can see it's coming out a little bit on this side, so let's go to the other side and see if we can tap that out. All right, I got it started. It's a really small pin. Let's see if I can get it with these pliers. Yeah, I'm going to get a very small punch to push through there. Shouldn't take much. There we go. So out comes that pin. And then the shaft should just drop out the bottom. And then the gear comes out. It has washers on the top and the bottom. And I'm taking it out so that I can clean that part out there. All right, so let me tell you, the worst part of this job so far has been cleaning it, but we're clean. So the one gear that went bad is this one. So the accessory gear that drives into it, you can see, just wore this away. Now, I don't know how fast that happened. We don't use that accessory a lot, so I don't know exactly what caused that, but you can see compared to the new one, this one is definitely toast. All right, let's put this back together. So we've got some grease, food grade grease, and let's see. I guess this is probably as good as any place to start. All right, we'll put together our tower. It goes washer, gear, washer. And now we need to find the pinhole. All right, so there is the tower. Grease that up. Not skimping on the grease. Basically, this whole 4 ounces of food grade grease will end up back inside that hub. Just want to make sure it starts on the right places. All right, so we get that guy ready. As far as the top goes, I'm going to insert the accessory gear. And we'll grease the drive gear. So there's the top axle, or the axle, well, the top of the axle goes into this spot down here. Does look like there's a relief in the back. So we're going to put a little bit of grease in here, but you don't want to pack it. Otherwise, that axle won't be able to get all the way in there. And the same thing for here on this corner. There will be, that's where our tower, the top of our tower, will mount into there. So just going to put a little bit of grease in both spots, and we'll put some on the top of the respective parts as well, but this way we make sure that we get some in there. All right, so let's see. We've got this washer. It's like a felt washer. It's not a metal washer. Get that guy. Do the whole bottom side of this. Then this main shaft. Got that O-ring on there, so it's a little bit tight getting through. But there we go. Now we'll set the tower on. There's 2 locating pins here in the back, so you make sure you get it on the right spot so you can't screw it up. The grease going. So making sure that all the teeth are getting covered adequately. Then it's just a matter of putting it everywhere else. As this heats up, it'll move around a little bit. All right, so let me just think this through. So we have the top to set down. I have no other leftover parts from the top. We still need to mount the orbital. I guess we could do that now. So the other felt washer goes on the bottom. So these 2 washers sort of sandwich this lower bracket of the mixer, this part here. that guy on. And then let's make sure that this planetary gear has lots of grease. So again, just kind of pushing that grease all around the edge. I think we're ready to put the top on. So looking at our grease, remaining grease, we're just going to put the rest of it right in there. All right, so just doing a double check on the parts. I'm not missing any. I did opt for the new gasket. And look at that, it does have a locator hole here for the gasket. That's good. I think we're good to go. Set it down. All right. All right. I think while we're here, we can put the trim rim back on. And we have these 4 screws that go underneath. Electrical connections, I did not need to disconnect the right-hand side ones. When I disassembled. Get that ground wire back in. While we're here, let's check the speed, check the sound, make sure everything's working. Good. Now, the reason why we're here. Alright, that's working, and it's not giving me any hint that it won't grind the meat grinder. Good. Trim plate. All right, so the speed. In the first speed here, this guy wants to be spinning anywhere from 40 to 60 RPMs. And there's an easy way to do that. It's sort of like checking your pulse. You can set up your stopwatch. So let's see, we'll go reset. Start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 revolutions, 10 seconds. Means 60 revolutions per second. So this is right where it needs to be. If it wasn't, what you would do is there's a lock screw here. It's of a 9mm on both sides. And then there's 2 adjusting screws. You want to move this in or out so that you can get that low speed right around 60 RPMs. 40 to 60 is what they recommend. And then you can tweak the high speed down here with this screw. The trick to that is you can only move it so much before you lose the second gear. And you'll know what I mean if you do that. First gear and second gear will basically be the same. That means you've adjusted this high gear too much. So the last piece is this back cover, hooks on the bottom. And that's all in, rotates up. And we'll screw that down. All right, so I am closer. Well, at this point, my video card was full, but good news is the video was over. But here's the end result. The meat grinder is back in action. Thanks for watching my video. I hope it was helpful for you. If it was, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel. Catch you next time.